So you want to be a trucker? Well, I never thought I could be one. I didn't like even driving from Orlando to Miami. And that's what, 3.5, 4 hours? Yeah, I didn't think this is something I can do. But I gotta tell you, the more I'm doing it, the more I'm believing in myself. And I also gotta tell you that this is the quickest, I repeat, the quickest career you'll ever start. People go to school for years. I was one of them. To learn stuff, pay God knows how much money to make 35, 40, 45,000 a year. This is my first year, and I'm already making those figures. And all it took me was a couple weeks. So, as you'll see, and the name of this segment is going to be called Stevens vs. Total. The reason it's called that is that I actually was working for Stevens Transport, and now I'm working for Total. But more importantly, let me break down everything that you'll go through. And I'm telling you this, and I'm literally, I think 6.5, 7 months into it. I'm about evenly split between the two companies. Now, I might come across as biased, but how can't you when I tell you the experience? Now, I'm going to tell you something, and then you're going to think, well, he's just trying to market that company because, you know, if he's asking for this, then obviously he's loving them. Well, I'm loving them, but it's not for this. I'm loving them, and that's why I'm making this, because I guarantee you, you will appreciate what I'm about to say. Because I wish I heard what I'm about to say. So you're lucky if you are watching this. You ready? Okay. Trucking. This is how I got into it. I went through something crazy. Bit of a breakup. Well, we're good now, and somewhat, I guess. But I went through something, and it led to this. I saw an ad in the paper. And that ad in the paper said solo driving. Now, before that, years ago, all I saw was CSRT, and they said team driving. And I knew in my heart of heart that I can't be a team driver. Because I don't want to be stuck in something the size of a restroom with anybody. Who would? Who would? I mean, how many great relationships do you have? Can you imagine being in a restroom? Oh my goodness. Yeah. I can't do it. Maybe somebody, I mean, I don't know. Some people can, if you can. You can make a little bit more money, but, you know, I'm gonna break it down, right? So, I went through something. I saw the newspaper ad, and it was for Stevens, and it said for solo driving, and I needed something at that very moment. It was crucial. So I called them, and luckily my driving record was finally good enough to do something like this, and everything was good, so they accepted me. So I got sent to Stevens, right? Well, it wasn't sent to Stevens, actually sent to a trucking school that helped out, you know, a lot of the companies, as most trucking schools do. The reality is it was Tampa truck driving, and I was living in Winter Garden, Florida, actually, at the time. So here I am. I go to the school, and I'm just gonna explain it to you how it comes. Now I'm freelancing this, man. I'm freestyling this. Now I'm telling you just how it came, so you'll know it's authentic. And I'm gonna try to do this in completely one take. And right now it's one take. Trust me, little things have already made me think, should I fix it? But no, I'm gonna try to do this in one take. So this is how it went down. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna explain to you, and then I'm gonna try to show you the comparisons, so you'll know the difference between Stevens Transport and Total Trucking from what I went through. And you'll believe I'm biased, but you should, because you'll see why. And I'm telling you, and I'm asking you, because the information I'm giving to you right now is going to be so vital, and you may not get it as well as I do, because I went through one company to get to the other, But all I ask is in return is you use me as a referral. My name is Keith Destine Williams from either Orlando, Florida or Winter Garden, Florida. All right, so here we go. So I went to the school. Guys, the school is not, it's not just easy. I mean, it's work. It's redundant. You're going to be doing a whole lot of repetition, and that's fine because that's how you really learn. And don't go into a thing it's easy, because this is not easy. This when I tell you you can have a career like this, well, it's a whole lot of information like that too. So when you go into it, just know that you're going into this to make a change in your life. And I mean, it is. I'm telling you right now, it is. I'm 6-7 months into it, and I haven't been doing this good, man. I haven't made money like this since I was a hustler, and I paid for those days. And this is good karma. This is good stuff, man. So when I say this is where you want to be, this is where you want to be. But you got to take it serious. This is no game. This is serious. This is your life every day. So you better be focused. So here I am. I go to the school. School's long days. For me, it was a little difficult at the beginning because I was a night owl, night shift guy. And all of a sudden I had to be up in the morning. So it was all day, a lot of information. And like I said, it's repetition. And if you get overwhelmed by the repetition of the whole sequence, you don't have to do, you don't have to do the hazardous waste stuff. You don't have to do that. If you want to do that, I mean, it is beneficial. But what I'll say is, if you feel overwhelmed, take one chapter at a time. I actually got in an argument with my teacher, and I said, listen, I don't want to do it all at once. I want to do one. I want to do one and the other, and that for me helped me. I'm not saying to argue with your teacher, but this is what helped me. And honestly, when I did the test, it was easy. It was easy. But now, let me lead you up to what happened, right? So I saw, while I was leaving out the office one day, I saw a pamphlet for total trucking. And I looked at it, and everything was better than Stevens. The pay, the mile, the how much training, it was just better. Everything was better, right? So I called them and I applied. Because, guys, you got to take matters in your own hands. You know, these trucking schools you're paying for, they're going to take the money out of whatever job you go to, they're going to take the money from. But you got to understand, a lot of them are being manipulated in their own ways. That's what I'm going to say to you, right? So I saw the pamphlet and I applied. Now, a couple days, this was like the last week. This is my last week of schooling. And I was waiting to hear if I got accepted. So here I am. One day, excuse me, that shows you it's gonna be a one take. So anybody else would have done that. But anyways, one day before I found out if I got accepted was also one day before I was doing my final testing, right? And somehow somebody I spoke to went and told on me, like, so childish, tells on me. And so the owner comes up to me in his little go-kart and he says, hey Williams, get in. I get in, and he just starts going on and on and on about Stevens Transport. Now, I understand you trying to help if you're trying to help, but I also understand a hustler's mentality. And when I see all Stevens trucks and you're pushing Stevens, I know that, they're in your back pocket or you're in their back pocket, one or the other. There's a money to be made. And at the same time, man, I got a couple degrees in business. I ain't no idiot, straight up. So I didn't like this. And I told him, like, he even said that, we keep going back and forth about this. I was like, we're going back and forth because you're insinuating something and forcing something on me that I don't appreciate. And then check out what he did. And if this gets to him, whatever, man. It was a dickhead move. So this is what he does, right? He grabs a chick walking by and he says she was homeless coming into this, and I gave her an opportunity. And I looked at him like, you piece of shit. How would you throw her on the bus like that? That's what I'm thinking. I didn't say it. I was mad, but dude, my eyes started watering up and I was pissed. And I was like, you know what? I'm not having this no more. I'm done with this conversation. And now we're having a conflict of interest. When I said that, he got personal, thinking, oh, what? Oh, I'm trying to do something illegal? Nah. I'm telling you, I don't know what you're going to do. You can make decisions, you know, away from people that I don't know. I don't trust you. So it was like this. It was not good. So I went home that night, and he put me in a situation where he's the one actually doing the testing the next day, him. So I had to go ahead and say, you know, man, Keith, even though that sounds better, you know what? And then he was also putting on me, you know, they have you, you know, in housing, this and that, which wasn't shit. The housing, the AC was all messed. I had to take an antenna or a hanger and change it. No, I didn't do that. Yeah, I did. But yeah, it wasn't, whatever, man. But, and it was right off of Martin Luther King Boulevard, which you know isn't the greatest areas. No offense to anybody who lives there, but you know. So, anywho, I had to go ahead and decide that, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Stevens because I might not have had a home to go home to. You know what I mean? So I had to make a decision, and so that's what I did. So now what I'm gonna get into is to talk about the the comparisons between the two. I'm not gonna explain the whole one and explain the other. I'm gonna go ahead and break down the similarities. Before I do that, hydrated. Alright, when it comes down to both of them, you're going to be sent out there and they'll pay for the ticket. You know, that's good with both of them, right? Stevens is in Texas, Total is in Mississippi. Now, this is how it goes down. I'm going to tell you exactly how it goes down. You get there the next day, they put you in a hotel, and then the next day you go to school. This is the first difference. Stevens puts you in a hotel, you share a room with somebody else. If you're like me, you want to be solo, you don't want to be always next to somebody. That's always a that's a problem in itself, because you don't know who the other roommate is, you don't know what he's going through, you don't know why he's there, you don't know. So Stevens will put you in a room, but you're going to be with somebody else. Total, they put you in a room by yourself. So you get there, when you're by yourself, you relax. And by the way, the room Total, it's one hotel, and it's just nicer than two of the hotels. I didn't experience all the hotels at Stevens, but it was definitely a nicer hotel. And you know, I was in there, and you're by yourself, and you get to enjoy yourself, and you know, figure out what you're gonna do. Because when you're with somebody else in a room, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it makes me a little uncomfortable. You're trying to get to know that guy. You're doing all this talking, you're wasting your time, all that. When reality is, you need to be focused on the job at hand, because this is a career, guys. You know, we're not in this for no bullshit. A lot of us are going at, you know, a lot of us, this is a desperate situation. So do you really want to focus on somebody else, or do you want to focus on what I need to do when I wake up and get good rest? Well, at Total, I got good rest. Stevens, I didn't. So Stevens, when you wake up, now both of them are similar, and you wake up around 6 in the morning to go to orientation. Orientation is 3 days for both of them. But this right here is going to be a major thing. Orientation for Total, you fill out a lot of paperwork. Orientation for Stevens, you fill out a whole lot of paperwork. The reason being, which I learned afterwards, is that they're covering their ass. Both of them are covering their ass, but Stevens is very much covering their ass. The reason being is that Stevens, you're cattle. At Total, they're still a younger company, less people. Stevens, it's people like this. Now, when you go into school, you'll realize that Total, they deal with about 50 to 100 people a week. Stevens, they deal with about 500 and up a week. So that's the difference. Now here we go. Stevens, when you finish the day in the orientation, guess what time it's going to be? 10 p.m. Total, 5. Total, you go back, you enjoy the rest of your night, you get your planned out, you're okay, you get good rest, you're up. Stevens, you'll be lucky to get a couple hours a night of sleep. And who knows if some new roommates coming in this, that, and third. I'll tell you what, there's a moment at Stevens that I thought to myself, man, I don't remember them teaching me this shit. When did this happen? Well, guess what? I came back in there another day, went to a class, and I realized why I didn't know that information, because they did tell us. But I realized why I didn't know, because everybody in the class was falling asleep or standing up because they're falling asleep. Because they had you in there till 10 p.m., which means you ain't getting back to the barrack or to the home till 11:30. Total, you got one truck brings you back to one place. Stevens, they got 4 different locations they're dropping people off. Next difference. Total, you want to talk to somebody, you walk right up to them and speak to them. Stevens, you want to talk to somebody, you got to sign into a little computer. And hopefully you got there before everybody else. If not, you're going to be in a long line waiting to talk to that person. And God forbid you speak to that person. He says, no, you have to speak to this person. So now you have to log back in. And you got to wait. You'll be waiting the whole day to ask a effing question. Total, I didn't feel that way. Next. So you finish the orientation. You go through that, right? Now they set you up with a trainer. Now I'll say it's similar. Very similar, because it comes down to one thing, you know, do you smoke or don't you smoke? That's really what it comes down to. And that's how, I mean, I'm gonna be honest now, me being former military, white dude, I don't know, man. I got a trainer like this compared to other people. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but you never know. But I'll tell you what, the one thing that went wrong with me is that I got trainers that I would say at Stevens, you want to ask for a company driver trainer, not someone who's leasing their vehicle. And the reason being is that if someone's leasing the vehicle, they're paying $600 and up a week. That means they owe money, and a lot of them have families. That's why they did that. And in total, they don't press the leasing as much as they did at Stevens. They don't. Now check this out. When you get with a trainer at Total, now don't get me wrong, I didn't like none of my effing trainers. I didn't. To me, they were all a bunch of assholes, man. I mean, that's just the ones I went through. That's not all of them. It's not, you know, I wasn't lucky with that. I mean, it is what it is. But at Total, the trainers are paid salary. They're paid salary to make sure you're trained. Their whole dedication is training you to get you the hours. And at Stevens, they're paid mileage. So that means they're paid money to make you run. Right? So if it's leased, they're going to make you run. They're going to keep running. You know, it's just, it's not good. Because it's not all about you. And check this out. At Stevens, you got so much paperwork, right? They give you got to either have a phone with a what's it called? A hotspot. Or they'll give you something. Or you got to ask for it. See, I didn't ask for it. I had a hotspot, but I had through Metro, PCS. And there's so many times that they give you paper. You got to do testing weekly. You got to do all this testing. And if it messes up, you got to redo it. If you're watching a video and it cuts out, you got to rewatch it. I'll tell you right now, on an iPad, I was able to fast forward it. But on a regular laptop, I wasn't. I had to, every time a little glitch, I had to rewatch it. So something that could take 15 minutes is taking me hours. And this is on top of already having to do the driving, and this, that, and a third with the trainer. And by the way, when that trainer is done with you at Stevens, he's running more miles, so you got to lay down in his bunk. You got to put your comforter on his bunk. Do you feel comfortable laying on his bunk? Because you can't lay on the top. So that's what happens. So here I am trying to do this testing. It's so stressful, bro. I told her I didn't go through that. And let me tell you something else. At Stevens, you got to do 240 hours with a trainer. At Total, you got to do 175. That's 65 more hours with a trainer. 65 hours. Think about your work week, guys. A 40-hour work week. So you're talking about another week or two with somebody that you might not be comfortable with. You're stuck in a truck. And at Stevens, those guys with lease vehicles, guess what? They were antisocial. I'm not saying they all are, but for me, they were antisocial. They just were trying to make money off you. I didn't click with them. We didn't get along. I didn't get along with the guy told either. But the reality is, this is what it came down to. So what would you rather, 240 hours or 170 or 160? Wait, 175. 175 or 240? I mean, 175 or 240? Think about it. Somebody who's just there to get you through, or 240 with a trainer who knows his reasons, and you're also having to take a whole lot of online testing. Which, by the way, at the end of all that, you had to do a 100 word test. If you miss any one of them, you got to redo it. And by the way, in those videos I was telling you weekly, not only if the video glitches, but if you miss a question, you have to redo it. You have to redo it. You have to redo it. And you know you're in areas where you get no signal, so you got to redo it. It becomes a pain in the effing ass, guys. All right. Once again, I'm not being biased, even though I should be. This is the truth. All right. So there we go. So you get done with the school and everything, you get your truck. Now, both of them were able to give you a good truck, right? Now, this is where I had an issue. Stevens, you're doing refrigerated stuff. Now, if you have any issue with the meat, meat stuff, like I eat meat, so I'm definitely a hypocrite with this. But if you have any issue with the meat factories and stuff like that, you're literally picking up from slaughterhouses. You're seeing the cows, you're seeing all that stuff. That used to bother me, because even though I eat meat, I felt really bad. It's one thing to try to stop eating meat, but it's another thing to be like the middleman for delivering the shit. And Stevens, that's what you're delivering it. They're one of the biggest refrigerated companies in the world. You're delivering. You're going to slaughterhouses all the time. Total, I wasn't dealing with that. And the other thing is, when you're dealing with refrigerated meat, you had to deal with refrigerated units. So you're having to put the gas or the fuel. Sorry. People at the truck stop always like, no, it's not gas, it's fuel. That's why I tell myself. But anyways, they're putting fuel into the tractor, the trailers. The trailers need fuel for the refrigerated, and that's an extra job you got to do. And at the same time, you got to make sure that the units are working and that the temperatures are right. And if you're doing, you're doing like, vegetables and other things, they make sure you have to, do certain things right. So you have to take more pictures. So there's just more work to it. Period. There's more work to it. So that's just the truth. So that's another thing that leaned me towards Total. I wasn't dealing with that, And let me put you on this too. Stevens, I think they went up to 36 cents a mile now. For me, it was 33 cents a mile. This is just recently. Total starts you at 38 cents. You're already making a little bit more money. And another big thing, the insurance, the medical stuff, which is very important to a lot of us. At Stevens, it was like in-house stuff. Like, it was weird. Where Total, it was Blue Cross Blue Shields. It was it was stuff we know about. It was better. I mean, it looked a lot better for sure. So yeah, that was a plus. And what else can I say? That's how I'm winging this, guys. Oh, and by the way, Total, you'll get a raise a lot quicker too. Stevens, you could be in there 6 months. You say, I'm gonna go, and they'll say, well, we'll give you a 1 cent raise. At Total, I've already got a 5-cent raise, and I got that only 1 month into it. I'm not saying everyone will get that, but I was willing to go major miles and work hard, and that's what everybody wants. So, I gotta add this in, because this means a lot, right? At Stevens, the truck is governed at 64. At Total, it's governed at 68. You might think that's not a big deal, 4 miles per hour. It's a huge deal. You're out there on the highways and you're going 64 and everyone's passing you. And check this out too. Stevens, you hit 70, they're calling you, they're harassing you, they're all in your shit. A total, no, they're not. They let you live. So when I got into this, I said to myself, I just want a job where they give me a job and I get it done, and what I accomplish speaks for myself. And that's what I'm having at Total. Stevens, nah, they're harassing you the whole way. It's such an uncomfortable thing. And I really don't believe that they want people long term, unless you're leasing the vehicles, because they're making money off you in that hustle. So, you know what? I think I said enough. With that said, all I ask you guys, and you know, some of y'all might go to Total, and you might not see everything I'm saying, because I had to live through both to appreciate it. But Total's been a really good company, guys. It really has. And if you appreciate this and this helps you in any way, all I ask is you tell them Keith Destine Williams referred you, and from Winter Garden, Orlando, Florida. And if any of y'all like to read, I got a book that just came out, because I've been going through a lot. And guess what, man? Just like my middle name, Destine, I was a part of the Casey Anthony story. You remember Casey Anthony's story? 10 years back, the biggest story in the nation? Yeah, I was within yards of finding Kaylee. I actually ended up knowing everything. It was so spiritual for me, because I had to lose everything to learn. The reality in this world is, guys, every day you wake up, appreciate the life you were given. Smile, and just be happy to be happy. And all those things you want, don't seek them. Just to be appreciative of what you got, and all those things will come to you. I guarantee you. I'm living proof. Alright, guys. Stay blessed, because you are.